This is your man, the man about town, Petty Murphy, reporting to you live from the back of the classroom with Akata News Network. What is that? Wait a minute. Stay tuned. Breaking news.
Many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. And you take him for a friend.
Mrs. Margaret Slee, president of America's Planned Parenthood Federation, maintains that European women should stop having babies for the next 10 years.
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
The term, a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. Historically, by excluding people and groups judged to be inferior and promoting those judged to be superior. There have been various applications of eugenics, perhaps the most famous being the Germans before and during World War II, which was condemned by the Nuremberg war crimes trials. But the Germans did not invent eugenics. In fact, they were inspired by the founder of the taxpayer-funded Planned Parenthood. The truth behind the genesis of that organization and its founder are much darker than most Americans realize. Who was the real Margaret Sanger? Why was she heralded by the Third Reich as the greatest socialist in America? Why do modern Democrats who claim to support the African American population justify presenting her as a cultural icon? Hello. Sanger refused to pay the fine and spent 30 days in jail. She then traveled the country preaching her concepts. Sanger then founded the American Birth Control League in 1921. Sanger also endorsed the 1927 decision Buck v. Bell, in which the Supreme Court ruled that states could forcibly sterilize people deemed unfit without their consent and sometimes without their knowledge. In 1939, Sanger began what was called the Negro Project, alongside black leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois, Mary McLeod Bethune, and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell. This was the plan to have black doctors performing on black patients to perpetuate the sterilization of blacks who were deemed inferior, as many black patients were suspicious of white doctors. Following upon Sanger's eugenics platform, disguised as giving women access to birth control, the ABCL became Planned Parenthood Federation of America in 1942 after birth control was no longer considered illegal, at least among married couples. During this period, Sanger had critics and supporters. The supporters even today claim that she condemned abortion, arguing that it would not be needed if every woman had access to birth control. What they leave out is that Sanger only opposed abortions if that meant not producing the best, healthiest, most intelligent from Caucasian couples. For blacks, Jews, and brown-skinned people, as well as low IQ white people and those with birth defects, they were not to be allowed. This was what the Nazis adopted. Ironically, in 1966, Planned Parenthood began issuing its Margaret Sanger Awards annually to honor individuals of distinction in recognition of excellence and leadership in furthering reproductive health and reproductive rights. However, the organization very quietly and without any fanfare stopped this practice as Black Lives Matter rose to prominence. It would have been seen as the height of hypocrisy to have a liberal-backed domestic terror group that attacked white America connected to Sanger, a Democrat darling who wanted to exterminate blacks. In fact, the last recipient of the award listed on the website is Dr. Willie Parker in 2015. Then, it just quietly disappeared. Parker was an abortionist known for his contentious claims that his Christian faith influenced his work. He was accused of sexual assault in 2019, which he denied, but he still resigned from all of his professional positions in 2020. Other recipients of the Margaret Sanger Award include House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and actresses Jane Fonda and Katharine Hepburn. Margaret Sanger was one of the few women to be given an honorific title and inducted into the Ku Klux Klan, and exalted by none other than Adolf Hitler and Dr. Joseph Goebbels. She was friends with the racist Democratic President Woodrow Wilson, Democratic fundraiser, and automobile maker Henry Ford, who was also friends with Adolf Hitler and a rabid anti-Semite and hater of black Americans. Margaret Sanger's rabid racism, anti-Semitism, and violent suggestions on eliminating all non-whites from American society endeared her to the eugenics crowd. She wanted an all-white, healthy, intelligent society built upon the concept of racial eradication years before Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party were even a thought.
Yeah. Yesterday was Gandhi. Today is Margaret Sanger. I don't know what else to say. But I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. Anytime people go out of their way to prop someone up and hand deliver them to you as your hero, it's being done for a reason. And again, it's the same party, the same group of people that's in there pushing the same agenda. So you see, in the late 1800s, you had an old Indian dude running around by the name of Gandhi that was kicking the same shit that Senior Kirk was kicking. Huh? Then you fast forward, we get into the early 1900s. And now you got Mrs. Sanger, the darling of the National Socialist Party. So what's funny is, right, the same people who spent the last election cycle pointing fingers, calling certain people F words and N words. You know, you can't say those on certain media networks because they'll hit you with the hammer. But it's a political ideology. You know, Germany used to run with it, Mussolini and all them. But for some reason, you know, they say when you point your finger at someone, you got things pointing back at you. So this is a wild world we live in, and it's crazy because all of your heroes are Asians. All the people that they told us in school were the good ones. Boy, let me tell you something. Inversion is the fastest way to perversion. Everything is upside down. Everything is backwards. We have been lied to our whole lives about history, religion, politics, all of it. All of it. It's one big psyop, and the joke's on us. So, once again, I know everybody's gonna be. So, during last election, when Planned Parenthood had all those trucks outside each stop where they were having rallies, giving out, free you-knows. That was a ritual. You ever heard of Moloch? You know, one of them ancient gods from the Sumerians and shit. Just go look it up. Go look up Moloch. Yeah, the god of child sacrifice. This is how long we've been playing this game. Our ancestors did it. And on down the line. And here we are today, still doing it. We've just given them all different names. Some of us even changed to pharmakeia. I'm sorry. Witchcraft is what they call it. But yeah, it's, like I say, it's the wild world we live in. And I get it. It can be hard to believe. But once again, one of the Democratic darlings. And don't you find it odd that they love giving that award to people that look like this? The woman whose sole purpose in life was to eradicate people who look like this? Huh? And then the institutions that her and her devilish sisters created all seem to be congregated in a place where the majority of the people who live there look like this. But nah, they wouldn't do that. Not the liberal left. They would not do that. Not to us. Because Brother Martin walked us into this burning building. And then he told us after that I think I may have walked my people into a burning building. Brother Malcolm said, don't you trust them old liberals over there. But who we trusting? Because for some reason, our black asses don't like to listen. And you know my dad used to tell me, son, a hard head make a soft ass. And this is why everyone comes here. They play in our face. They say it with their whole chest. You and a kata. You niggas have no culture. Hey black people, you think we need your help? Get your popcorn, sit back and watch how the Mexicans do it. Arriba, mi hora la raza. And it's crazy because these cats are here illegally and playing in your face. And you belong to the only group that can't be deported, and they playing in your face. And then everything that your tax dollars go to was designed to destroy you from the inside out, and you fight for it. Whoo, this is why they laugh at us. But yeah, get out of here. Y'all have a wonderful day. And remember, realize, and transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars and keep that head on a swivel. Because it's a dangerous game they playing. And if you don't stay locked in, you're going to be a victim.